The floods always started across the street from the house, approximately. Sort of catty corner to me, half a block away, where the Maiden Choice Run enters into the storm culvert that runs under Frederick Avenue and comes out down in Beachfield behind the school. And it was amazing because the flood didn't start there. The flood started at North Bend Road. You could see the evidence of it. You could see it after seeing all these floods all these years. And the only thing I can think of was the changes made to the cemetery, the National Cemetery. Putting in the mausoleums, cutting out the trees, cutting back the tree banks. And of course it was an incredible amount of rain, don't get me wrong. But even so, the next storm, the second one that came through that year, the floods again started at North Bend, not down here where they traditionally, at the beginning of the culvert. That area is only about 4 foot by 8 foot. So, incredible amount. It was something more that you didn't want to bear.
I know about other floods that happened prior to 2018, but that's the one where that occurred after I became pastor of Still Meadow. And so that was, as I'm sure everybody knows, the Memorial Day weekend. When everything happened, I started getting calls, because then I was living a little further away, and so I started getting calls, and by that, and I think that was actually Memorial Day by then, and so I had a hard time getting here. So I'm going literally through back alleys, and things are washed away, and there's debris everywhere. I ended up with 3 flat tires. They got slashed in all of the debris by the time, a little bit after I got here. But anyway, I got to the church then, and then, we started surveying problems and challenges, and people were just starting to come out of their homes up and down Frederick Avenue and talking and interacting with each other. And so, as I remember, I got a vehicle, and I was able to make my way up to Edmondson Avenue, and we just bought a bunch of, again, remember it's Memorial Day, we just bought not tons, but bunches of food and buns and hamburger meat and all this other stuff, because it's like, okay, well, what can we do now? Which is always a good question to ask yourself in an emergency. What we could do now is feed people, right? And so some people from the neighborhood came on, we set up some grills, and as people processed their shock and their terror and started telling each other their stories, they did it over hamburgers and hot dogs and Utz chips.
So on May 27, 2018, I received a call that Frederick Avenue was under water. And so immediately, being the pastor of Miracle City, decided to get in contact with individuals that are part of our congregation and part of our community to see exactly what was going on. And unfortunately, it was far worse than we expected. And there were several community members whose homes were flooded, and the street had washed away cars, and it was quite an unexpected mess that took quite a bit of work to address.
Before that, my home never really flooded. But I was out that day, and when I got home, finally, because all the roadways were blocked trying to get here, when I got home, I was hoping that my sump pumps had worked, and they were working overtime, because when I pulled up, I could see the water spewing out of them. However, when I went to the basement was flooded up to about my thigh. We had a loss of washer, dryer, refrigerator, freezers, definitely the furnace, hot water heater, and all of our souvenirs, all of the lawn equipment, because I had electric lawnmower and shears and all that. So all of those were destroyed. And I was told that it was best not to dry them out and reuse them, but to get rid of them.
The flood surprised us, and every time it come down, the water would recede a little bit. We'd think about it again, but they called it a rain train. I believe it was either 8 or 12 inches fell in a 2-hour period. And it was just waves of continual rain come and would bring the water back up. This was the deepest flood I can think of